Yes, we are live here talking about all the latest transfer news and rumours. Big stories. Sancho to West Ham. What am I hearing? Mad rumours. Man United have got off to a flying start. We're going to get into Man United after their worst season in Premier League history. And then, obviously, Kish, who's a Spurs fan, is going to join us to talk about Ange potentially getting replaced by Thomas Frank. But yeah, first, while we wait for Kish, we've got my good friends, my old friends, Usman and Kojo, the Man United fans. I said we used to do a show on Usman's channel. I think it was every Monday night, wasn't it? Monday night.
Was everyone?
Yeah. So yeah, proper old school. Back in the day, like feels like a long time ago.
Oh, definitely. A lot has changed since then. You know, we used to be talking about top 4 races between our clubs.
Do you know what? I'm trying to think who your manager was. If you had Jose, you had Ollie, like back then.
Yeah,
Ollie. We signed Ollie that time. Yeah, we signed Ollie, and then we went to.
You know what? You should have kept Ollie at the wheel. Because ever since Ollie's gone out...
Dan, I'm not doing this. Dan,
look what's happened. You didn't let him cook. You didn't trust Ollie.
You got a European trophy and sacked your manager, man. What about you, man?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, no, let's not do that because we did not get European trophy and sack our manager. We got a European trophy. We gave him one more year and his contract ended. And he went his way, we went ours.
You guys didn't want to keep him though. You were mad at him. You went.
You were hot.
You didn't appreciate him.
Lawless,
you know what I mean?
Content, bro.
Do you know what?
Watch your content.
At the end of when we won that trophy, and at the end, and I see Moyes over his. You see it live. I was like, fair play, Moyes, and I said he doesn't deserve to be sacked. Let's give him a chance, one more season, like because it's hard. Like it just looks mad to sack a manager of winning a trophy, like. It's crazy. Like Man United didn't even do that. And this is what I'm saying. We're going to get to Spurs. Spurs are talking about doing that. Man United did not sack Ten Hag. And you may say hindsight, you should have, but you still didn't do it.
I mean, that would have been.
Who does that? Chelsea maybe was the only other one.
The thing with those in particular is obviously you mentioned Ali there. When things go south for a Man United manager or player, whatever, it goes south very quickly. Like I just remember, like the last couple of weeks of Ollie's tenure. It was sad to see him in that state. Obviously, I love him as a player. He was a legend of the club. One of probably the most iconic United moment ever. Up there for sure. That's definitely top 3. But it was just sad to see him look like a broken man. Like at the end of the day, I didn't want to see him like that. Of course, I was only out for a long time, so I'm not saying that. But he had to go at the time, and the same was with Ten Hag. Same with Jose. I love them all, but. For different, not Ten Hag, sorry, scratch that, I hate him. But
be careful what you wish for. That's what people say to me, and maybe you guys should have been a bit extra careful because you're 15.
I mean, it is a West Ham channel, so I feel like we should start with West Ham. Obviously, a lot of people in the chat are West Ham fans, so let's just get into part in it while we're talking managers.
Yeah.
So Lawless, you tell us, mate, because now the way I see it, you're just as bad as us, really. You're only you one place above us, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we're 14th. I think we're 14th.
Yeah, exactly. So I know he's had less time. I think has he had less time?
Yeah. He coming in January. Yeah, he come in January.
Oh, so literally like a month less, really.
Yeah. You had signings. You spent money in January as well.
No, we didn't.
Yes, you did. I'm sure you did.
No, go on.
Who did? Oh, you brought in a. I know you signed someone in January.
Then we spent money, Kojo. Did you hear that?
We
bought Dogu for 15 million, bro.
Oh, Dogu, yeah, that's it.
Is that not money? Is 15 million not money?
Left back. That was literally a panic buy. We had literally left back.
I'm just saying you spent money.
We had Mazraoui and Dallo, and then one of them got injured. Like we actually didn't even have a left back. We had a right back playing left back, and then the right back playing left back got injured, so we had no option to put to buy.
So I was right. You spent money. Okay, we've agreed. We've established that.
Factually, yeah, but you signed Fulkrug, who was in the Champions League final the season before. You're not, what's happened there?
Well, we'll get into Fulkrug. Sancho.
Yeah, exactly. That's all. You had a Champions League finalist in your team, and he's flopped. So are you gonna break it down, or what? Is it him?
Injured most of the season. Like, to be fair, he's been injured. Like, so it's not his fault. It's been stop and start, bad injuries. But do you know what? You need to be accountable for Sancho. You was Sancho FC for a long time. Sancho FC, the Sancho defender, right? Big. Even when he went to Chelsea, he's like, oh, I hope he goes there and proves all the doubters wrong. One post changed your whole perspective on Sancho. His kiss just back me up on this.
There we go.
We're talking about Usman's love for Sancho, right? How he was Sancho FC.
360 heel turn, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Man did a Cena, man did a John Cena.
Yeah. Freedom. That post, when Sancho put on Rashford's post, freedom, that's it.
You know what? Yeah, when that happened, I bet you Usman was crying in the dark room. I'm telling you. He was like, why has he come out with freedom fire? Like, why, Sancho, after all that support I gave you when I said it isn't about goals and assists? And did you see him getting Dortmund to the final of the Champions League? That's my boy. And then freedom fire came up when he was like, how could you, Sancho? How could you do this to me? And then all of a sudden, all of his tweets afterwards was like, Tubby boy, freedom boy. He's got 0 goals. He's got 0 goals and assists. He's not turned up for Chelsea since December. This, that, and the other, and bam. We didn't even see a single tweet when he scored in the Conference League final. Usually, Usman would be going insane. We didn't see any of that. I was quite disappointed.
Firstly, I was at 5-a-side, and I knee slid at 5-a-side when he scored. So just to get that out of the way, there's camera footage somewhere. Those goals cameras. But listen. For me, I've never been player FC. Sancho was one of my favorite players.
Pogba FC. Coming from Pogba FC.
Come on.
Let me land. He was one of my favorite players for a long time. But at the same time, I'm sure Kojo will agree with this. I've criticised him when he's been awful. And to be fair, and I've said this, he hasn't done enough at Chelsea. It's as simple as that. Like, he's literally was my favourite player before we signed him because I was a big fan of him and Hakimi, who's actually just won the Champions League. I've been a Hakimi stan since day dot, literally. Him and Sancho at Dortmund were phenomenal together. I wanted them both. Obviously, we only got one and it's flopped. But for me, he hasn't done enough at Chelsea. I actually think it's embarrassing that he hasn't agreed wages at Chelsea. I'm not really sure what his agent's doing or the people around him. Look, at the end of the day, I'm pro Manchester United. Sancho's not done it. I've always had a soft spot for Rashford, but the last 2 years I completely turned on him as well. Like, I've always loved Rashford. I mean, every United fan always loved him because he's an academy player. But, like, your opinions can change. I mean, after that comment that you made, after he can do one, who does he think he is? That you're on 350 grand a week? What kind of nonsense are you
talking about? If Pogba posted that, would you have said the same thing? Would you feel the same way if that was Pogba and not Sancho?
Pogba. I mean, to be fair to Pogba, he actually did get freedom because that guy was getting all kinds of abuse. Like, the fans literally told him to F off to his face. So Pogba's situation is actually different to Sancho's. He didn't really get that kind of level of abuse.
I mean, do you remember Sancho at the Euros when he missed the pen?
I mean, all I remember is Saka missing the pen.
You're saying no, but what I'm Kojo, hear me out. What he's saying
the abuse, right.
This is what I'm saying. So, freedom fighter.
I thought it was just a drive-by. I was like, wait, what's going on?
No. Freedom fighter did get abused. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying.
I mean,
well, apparently he wants freedom at West Ham. Like, and this, I see what you're saying,
bro. It stinks of West Ham. I knew it. It smells so bad of West Ham. That signing.
I'm surprised.
I called it.
Spurs in there. I'm not gonna lie. You lot love it.
No, you mad? Nah, mate.
It fucking starts for you. Well, you know about you had.
Imagine what you on about. Imagine him in that Ange press, bro. He wouldn't even make it past the halfway line. What are you on about, Tubby boy?
I remember when we signed Lingard and Kojo was like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm all on the board. The West Ham train. Are you going to be the same if we sign Sancho, Kojo? You're going to be like the same way.
I can't lie. I couldn't care less, man. You signed Kudus. Everyone else, this is a side piece, man. You got my Ghanaian boy. That's what I care about.
Well, they're trying to swap Sancho for Kudus. Have you seen the story?
Oh, that
tweet. I have heard that. I have actually heard that.
The dumbest transfer. Swap deal Sancho for Kudus. Sancho is not worth the same amount of money that Kudus is.
No, I agree.
To be fair, though, can I just say, though, no. But if you're basic, look, in the last season, Kudus has been really poor. Like, I know the whole team as a collective has been poor. If it was Kudus of last season, the season before, sorry, no, then it's ridiculous. But if you base it season for season this year, there's not really a huge difference in both. Like, I'll be real with you.
I think he's been playing well, but his GA has just been shit, so people don't really see it.
I don't actually think he has been playing that well.
He has. he's been in a very dysfunctional team, and obviously Lawless can give us more info. But this is what I mean. I do give players the benefit of doubt. I think your environment is very important. The environment of West Ham, similar to United and Spurs, actually, we're all in the same boat. It's not really giving any player an opportunity to really flourish. Like Solanke, for me, I actually think he was a good signing for that, and I think he'll end up coming good when you actually saw the rest of the mess out. But I mean, people are judging him based on GA as well, and I don't think he's a bad signing. I think he'll come good, and I think for me, Kudus is top quality, man. He showed it the season before, man, and I don't doubt his ability. If you're talking Premier League, then obviously Kudus had a better Premier League season than Sancho. There's no combo there, but I personally wouldn't take Kudus, not because he's not a better player, but if we're getting Mbuemo, Kudus is not going to sit on the bench, man. Like, let's be real, he's too good to be sat on the bench.
Someone's going to have to sit on the bench already with Bruno starting.
Yeah.
Bruno's not going to be on now that Bruno's staying, there's no way he's going to be on the bench if you're playing this 3-4-2-1.
Bruno probably playing the two behind.
Yeah, there's no space for Kudus in that team, unfortunately. I would 100% take him last season.
No, where are you paying? No, hang on a minute. How are you fitting Bruno, what do you call it? Bruno, Mbuemo, and
Cunha.
How are you fitting them all in the same team?
That's fine. Bruno would be part of the midfield, so it'll be whoever's the three at the back, and then you got your wing backs, you got your two midfilders. Bruno would be one of them. So
you're asking Bruno to play as a number 6?
No,
8.
It's 8.
Well, listen, it's not going to work, man. Anyway, we're talking
about it's not going to work.
Do you want Sancho or not? Let's stick to Sancho. Lawless, give us your verdict, because there's a lot of fans in here are wanting to hear from you regarding Sancho, and obviously get your comments in as well.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Do you know what? Like, the big thing for me is the wages, right? What you got him on? 300 grand a week.
Yeah, good luck in negotiating.
Yeah. Like apparently, like he didn't stay at Chelsea because he refused to take a pay cut. If that's true, you better believe that he ain't gonna take a pay cut for us.
They what I read was they wanted to give him like 140. So he was like, nah, that's a crazy drop.
That is 200 grand pay cut.
Yeah, but that's kind of what that's kind of probably a little bit more than he's worth. Like, to be honest, like how many clubs, unless he goes Saudi, are gonna pay him more than that? Like for us, that's why a loan makes sense. Like if we were to loan him for another season, because off the back of the Chelsea, like I think if he comes to West Ham with us, I think he would thrive at West Ham. I think it could be another Lingard type signing. So a loan for you and for us, I think works. He has an impact for us. We need that cover on both wings, especially the left. And then, like I said, we split the wages up. You pay half, we pay half, and then at the end, he's a more valuable player because.
But to go, we pay half of his wages. I'm flipping shaving my head off.
Well, you was dumb enough to give him 300 grand a week.
No, we weren't. I wasn't in the boardroom. Ed Wood was.
No, you wasn't. Your club.
Our club is run so poorly. How do you give a 20-year-old 300 grand when he's done nothing? How does that make sense? Like, it's just.
I mean, you can't say he's done nothing, because for 2 seasons at Dortmund, he was ridiculous in terms of stats.
Oh, but like, he wasn't 350k worthy. At Dortmund, he wasn't 100.
Who is? Come on, who is worth that though? Do you know what I mean?
Very few players, but he wasn't one of them.
Oh, he was nowhere near, man.
Yeah, that's obscene. Someone sent me something like Man United's wages, like, and I wish I could find it now because it's mad. Like what you pay wages.
It's not that bad actually. It's actually improved, to be fair to them.
Still, you got Bruno is on like crazy money. Harry Maguire.
Basically, a lot of the people that are on crazy, you are right at the moment. But like Rashford, for example, he should be getting sold. I believe Cunha is on about 140 or 120. I know Newcastle United fans have been crying on social media, news, claiming that it's only happening because of money, yada yada yada, whatever nonsense.
Yeah, Lawless, just share Matt Rainey's tweet about both season between Kudus and Sancho. Okay. This is what I mean. So there's not actually been a huge difference this year.
Kudus versus Sancho in the Premier League. Mo 32 apps, 5 goals, 3 assists. Sancho 31 apps, 3 goals, 4 assists, but Chelsea won the Conference League. So I would say Sancho had a better season. So if that's just Premier League, right? So that's Premier League stats. So we're not stat padding with conference. The thing is, like I think it was Usman that pointed out, he's been in a much better team, Sancho. You know what I mean? Like versus us. But the thing is, I will give Sancho's credit. their finishing, like versus their XG, like the way that they've executed it has been poor. So he has created chances. He probably would have had more assists if Jackson wasn't such a bum.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I mean, he definitely would have had more assists. But look, at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna sit here and start praising Sancho based on GA because that goes against everything I normally stand for. So at the end of the day.
Oh, is it? It's everything that you stand against, yeah?
We're getting there. We're getting there, man. Breathe. It's okay.
I'm just saying. I'm remembering this as a receipt. At what minute was this? 15, 20.
You know what? I'm going to move on to the soon.
No, I'm just remembering the minutes.
Let me give you all your verdicts. Yeah, like you're unbiased, not because you want to sell Sancho to us. But it's like Kojo verdict. Like, do you think Sancho to West Ham would make sense? Look, obviously, like it's going to be a loan, right? It would for us for it to happen. It has to be a loan. Like, do you think it's a good move for us, for you, for Sancho?
I think actually it would be a good move because he creates a lot of chances. I think you missed that. You've only got one real creative player in your midfield to forward line. So, and I think on the left you are still slightly weak. So, Bowen, Kudus, him
some
as a free.
Was like, I'm not sure he's going to stay fit.
There you go. So and then if Paqueta is gonna be a West Ham player this season, then him in a 10, you got a decent front line with those three. So that's not a bad option.
All up in the air. What do you think, this man?
Yeah, I'm getting cooked in the WhatsApp group. I'm just seeing it pop up. I don't know what. I don't know, something about Bruno. I'm getting cooked. But anyways, for me, I think it'd be a good move for you guys, not a good move for us personally, because he's actually, if I'm not mistaken, he's got 1 year left on his contract.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You need to sell him realistically. We don't need a loan.
That could be a Lingard thing again.
You're getting 5 mil for him, right? For the Chelsea sending back. So you get 5 mil.
Yeah, but we need.
If we gave you a loan fee, say we charge you another 5 mil to loan him, that's 10 mil. Like no one's. I just can't see, like, apart from Saudi. Name me one club out there that's going to pay, say, a 40 mil transfer fee or even a 25 mil transfer, whatever transfer fee you want, and pay the wages he wants. Can you think of any club? No Prem clubs for sure.
His wages are stupid. I don't know who's advising him, but they're absolutely embarrassing. They've ruined his career. Like, he should have definitely stayed at Chelsea. That was a massive mistake on his part. Like, he's not going to get a top club like that. He hasn't proved himself really at that level in the Premier League anyways. I mean, to be fair, he could get a good Italian move, but he's obviously not going to get nowhere near close to the wages that he's wanting. So everything below Chelsea is going to be down. So I think he's made a massive mistake. But from West Ham's perspective, great signing for you guys. I think he provides you with a lot of quality. I know a lot of people bash him and the rest of it, but he does provide you a lot of quality. The only thing with Sancho is he doesn't shoot enough. And obviously, I don't. He when he shoots, he's actually got a decent shot. He scored quite.
The goal versus Spurs that he scored against us early in the season. He was like top bins.
Goals he scored are all like from edge of the box. So that's the most frustrating thing about him. He doesn't shoot. Obviously, he scored a good goal in the final. Obviously, like as well. But yeah, for me, it'd be a good sign if you guys. I don't think it'd be the same impact as Lingard because he's very different to Lingard. He's more creative. I don't know if you need a creative player, but he would definitely improve you in that aspect.
We definitely need creativity. Our creativity's been poor.
In terms of scoring goals, he might not help you as much. But yeah, in terms of creating goals, as in
we need creativity.
But as a creative, it would be a good signing.
Quick question from Matt Rainey. He's saying, why did Chelsea sell Mount? He was good for them, and he was a true blue. Man United ruined him. You ruined Mason Mount.
He didn't play for a whole year. Hey, Matt, man, allow it, man. Allow it, man. I was about to get triggered, and I thought, nah, you know what? It's not even worth it, man.
I'm not even going to lie. When I saw him starting that Europa League final instead of, say, Garnacho, because all Xerxes, I know Xerxes just came back from injury, more so Garnacho, I was buzzing, I'll be honest, because he has done absolutely nothing, Mount, since he's been. The only game he had that was decent was the semi-final second leg against Bilbao, where he scored the 2 goals or whatnot. And I think that's the reason why he got the starting lineup. Okay. But I was buzzing because on the counter, you need pace and you need trickery. And Garnacho, yes, he has a lot of stinkers, but he has the odd game when he turns up. And you could even see when Garnacho came on, he was terrorizing our defense. To be fair,
this is the story of Garnacho. Garnacho, it needs to stop. I can't.
He's got no end product, man. He's got everything,
but it's more of a fear factor towards our shaky defense already.
It.
Do you get what I mean?
He does everything and then doesn't do anything. He's got no.
He pulled off one shot. which forced the keeper into a save, and then he did niche after that. And this
came
is
off for 10 minutes. He came off for 10 minutes though.
It doesn't 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, 90 minutes. He does this day by day at this club. This is the reason why we want him gone. It's not a case of like he's promising, and no, he does this and he's very arrogant about it. He thinks he can drop consistent 4 out of 10 performances with the odd 8 out of 10 and then come and say, I only played 10 minutes in the finals, so let's do more holiday and see what happens. You've not been good this year. It's okay to say it. You've not been good this year. I know you're a young kid. I know you got a lot of your years in the game, but you haven't been good this year. So I'm not going to allow him to get away with that.
I'm not saying I'm defending him because I
know you're not.
I'm just saying I'm not allowed to get rid of this level, and I do think you should sell. Trust me, I think you should sell because it's full profit, etc. However, beginning of the season when Eric Ten Hag was there and you were still having stinkers, he was the one that was one of your best performers by far at the beginning of the season. You can't deny that, right? Yeah, you can't deny that. And it wasn't until Amorim came in and then changed the formation, and he never really, let's be honest, was a fan of Garnacho, even from the get-go, yeah? And I think after that, he just had a stinker since Amorim came in.
Garnacho under Ten Hag was actually good. Like when we first
I thought he was, to be honest.
Like he had pace. But you know what? Speaking of wingers, we're talking about there's another loan signing that could potentially happen of a player that we could get instead of Sancho or another winger at another Manchester club that we've been linked with. Funny enough, I've seen the links that we could explore on loan, and that is one Jack Grealish. As an option. The guy that's a flop. Some say flop, some say he definitely did not flop. In the comments, let me know if you take Jack Grealish or Sancho. Now, I remember, kid, because you remember this. We had a massive. This is how long ago. Like I said, I've known these guys in the group chat when Grealish was going Man City. We had a massive debate. I said he was going to flop. I said it's an outrageous thing to spend 100 million. Kish was adamant it wasn't going to happen. Right? No. Pep knows what he's doing. He's not going to spend 100 million on a player if he's going to flop, right? And I held tight. Now, 3 of us here are of the opinion that he did indeed flop. Kish, you're sticking to your guns. You're saying he has not been a flop at Manchester City.
Yeah, so a couple of things I want to get off my chest here. Yes, granted, I agree. Everyone on this chat, bar me, has been a fan of Jack Grealish because I saw him for what he is. He's never been one of those players who's going to get a bucket load of goals and a bucket load of assists. In fact, the season that Man City signed him from Aston Villa, he got 11 league goals for Villa, which was his highest ever goal scoring season in any division, whether it be the Championship or the Premier League. So that wasn't the reason why they signed him. What they signed him for is firstly, his in-game possession-based football in terms of he keeps the ball, and in terms of his movement and everything he does around the in-game performances is something that I rate. And I can back this up. Because Kojo and Usman in the chat said that he's flopped because he's 100 million. Now, 100 million was his buyout clause that Manchester City paid, okay? That wasn't on him. That wasn't on him that he was 100 million. That wasn't his fault. That was the buyout clause, and that is how much value that he was to Aston Villa. Okay. Now, I based it on that one season when they won the treble, right? And you say he got 5 goals, 11 assists that season. But my opinion of that is that he played 50 games in that season, including the pivotal Premier League games, which City needed to win the league, the FA Cup final, and the Champions League final, which included semi-finals against the likes of Real Madrid and Inter Milan in the final. So what I am saying is, if in a lot of people's opinions, arguably the greatest manager in world football has decided to play the likes of Grealish ahead of, at the time, the likes of Riyad Mahrez, the likes of Raheem Sterling, who at that time He did. He started him. That's not on me. No, I'm not saying he's better than those players. Hear me out. But what I'm saying is based on performance. If he has played, and I know a lot of people, if you've got younger fans or whatnot, Sterling at one point was a fantastic player, right? And at that point in time, he was scoring 20 goals a season, getting double assists, etc. So what I am saying to you is in that season, and let's go off, because I was prepared for this, by the way. I was prepared for this, yeah? So hear me out. I have got the stats to prove it, right? Are you ready?
Are you ready? He's done his research. He knew this was coming.
Run your thing, man. Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
In that season that Jack Grealish, the season which Man City won the treble, only a handful of teams in world football have ever done it. Only the second team behind Manchester United to have done it. There was only 2 players in the entire squad that received more man of the match performances for City that season, and that was Kevin De Bruyne and a certain Erling Haaland. Okay, hear me out. And there was also only 2 players in the Manchester City team that got a per higher games ratio rating than Jack Grealish, and that was Kevin De Bruyne, 7.58. On average, Erling Haaland of 7.54, and Jesus, what's going on? Oh, Jack Grealish was 7.33 above Rodri, Phil Foden, Gundogan, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Ruben Diaz, Raheem Sterling. Oh my, and Gundogan. Oh my God, how has that happened? Now you tell me, gents, what's going on then? What's going on?
Right. How many? Okay, let me.
Go on this, man. Run your thing, bro. Run your thing.
So, okay, so you referenced one season, which is fine. Can you just answer this very quickly? How many seasons has he been at Man City? Sorry.
4 seasons now.
And why are you not referencing any other seasons?
Okay. The first two seasons. Second season. First season. First season he played football. I'm saying no.
Whole prep spiel. But 20 minutes of research on Jack Grealish.
Okay, hear me out. No. Okay, I'll give you a better example. No. Hear me out. No. Let me say one point. Okay. Robin van Persie had 1 season at Manchester United where he scored 30-odd goals and won the league in Ferguson's last season. What did he do in the next 2 seasons at Man United?
Which player did you say, sorry?
Robin van Persie at Man United.
So you're comparing Grealish's impact to Robin van Persie, is that what you did?
I'm asking you a general question. Go on.
No, but I'm just asking you.
So what did what? So after the first season, what did he do?
Is that what you did?
No. You answer my question first.
I'm just saying.
What did he do? Robin van Persie spent 3 seasons. 3 seasons. 3 seasons. 3 seasons. 3 seasons. 3 seasons. 3 seasons.
As a metric
3 seasons
to push agendas.
But you can't answer my question though.
You know what the thing is, Kish?
You can't answer my question though.
Without Van Persie, Man United don't win that Premier League. Without Grealish, Man City still win all their trophies.
But they didn't though, did they? They wouldn't have though, would they? Because he started every game.
But I don't think he made us.
Did Man City win the treble before Jack Grealish though?
So you're telling me that the treble because of Jack Grealish?
So you're telling me that if the guy with the third
Jack Grealish was the needle to move, he moved the needle so City won the treble. Is that what you're saying?
That season, he was the top 3 players in that City team in the entire league.
You just said, did they win the treble before or after him?
He wasn't the key reasons, but he was one of the 3 reasons. He was one of the 3 reasons.
No, he wasn't.
He was. He
wasn't.
He was the third best player. He was the third best player in the Man City.
No, he wasn't.
He was. I've just given you your.
Bro, we watch football with our eyes. That's
yeah, exactly. So I just watched football with my eyes.
1 second. Those rating apps I don't know where you got the rating from, but those apps tend to favor attackers. They don't tend to favor defenders.
It actually doesn't, because it actually doesn't. I'm just why don't you put Liverpool on it for this season? It says Van Dijk has the highest ratings out of any player in that Liverpool team.
Bro, those rating apps are so flipping
biased. You know what it is? Can I just be honest?
If Garnacho drops the stinker, let's use Sancho because you lot don't like him. Let's say Sancho's playing awful, yeah? He's having an absolute shocker, and then he scores that goal that he did in the conference final, his rating would go from a 5 to a fucking 7.5.
That's not how Opta Stats does it. That's not how Opta Stats does it, though. So you can check for yourself. Bro, you've not checked it though. You've not checked it.
That's literally how those
I can send it to you. I can send it to you if you want, and you can search for yourself. Then you can search it for yourself. I mean, what I'm saying is, I literally check those stats for validation. I literally check those stats for validation of what I saw from that individual player that season, and what I saw from that individual player. Every single commentator, every single fan that season was licking his arse.
Okay, 1 second. Let us fucking talk then, because you've presented this case. Let us rebuttal. So if he was that good the first 2 seasons, which you're claiming he was, fair enough, that's your opinion, then why the hell would Pep start to drop him? Why would he buy Doku? Why would he buy these other players?
Because he dropped performances.
1 second, let me finish. I'll let you speak. If he was as good as you're claiming, that he was the needle, he was the difference for them to win the treble, or the top 3 player, and on the second season, you're still saying he had a good season, by your admission, not mine. So in the 3rd and the 4th season, why was he not starting games?
I'll tell you why. There was a certain Riyad Mahrez and Raheem Sterling that left the season after. So what are you going to have? 2 wingers?
But that's not the point.
What are you going to do?
The point is those wingers are coming and literally
they've overtaken him.
No, but that is no. That is absolute. That is absolute.
So the 3rd and the 4th season, he was playing as much as the
I'll tell you why. The 3rd season. Are you going to let me speak then? Are you going to let me prove my point? 3rd season, 2 things. They sold Riyad Mahrez and they sold Raheem Sterling. Jack Grealish started almost every single game at the beginning of the season, then dropped off in form, which is why Doku got game time. I am not saying that he's been successful in the last 2 years, because he's barely played last season, and the season before he's barely played, and he's been overtaken. But for the first 2 seasons, he was clearly performing. You don't get ahead of Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez.
He does not play on the same wing as Mahrez. Stop.
He didn't get ahead of Riyad Mahrez, man. They played together.
So was he ahead of Sterling? Was he ahead of Sterling that season?
Sterling, fair enough, but not Mahrez. They're not even.
So was he ahead of Sterling? Sterling
was already falling off. We saw that.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't that season. No, he wasn't. Look at it. Just look at his in-game stats.
Sterling is notorious.
Do you know what my point is with this debate? Yeah, is you guys don't look at it in an open way, because, for example, and I've known these guys for a while. Just saying, by the way,
don't say we want an agenda against Grealish.
Because I have said to you, like I said on the top, Paul Pogba was a flop for Manchester United, whether you like it or not. And every time I've mentioned this in our group chat over the years, you have slated me, and you know I have receipts to prove it. You are slated. Everyone that argues that.
Can I reply? So you've just called Pogba a flop. You have just proved my point. I love you, kid. So you've called him a flop. You pulled out all these stats. The same Paul Pogba that in back-to-back seasons, 1 at United was in the Ballon d'Or list, and 2, he was in the fucking Premier. He was the only Liverpool and City player to make the Premier League 11, and they fucking hate him, and he still made it. So
he was in the Ballon d'Or list because he won the World Cup with France, you idiot. It wasn't because of his performances with Man United.
But he was still in the Premier League 11.
Man United came 7th that season because he's won the World. He's got the MVP in the. Okay, I can beat your argument there. Messi won the Ballon d'Or with Argentina just based on that World Cup.
Kish, he was in the Premier League 11, bro.
Because that was his only season when he ended up with like 10, 15 goals. Okay. And you came second in the league. And you came second in the league. And you came second in the league. You came second in the league that season.
He dropped a man of the match in the final. Yeah, Grealish.
He came second in the league, and he was. Are we forgetting that he had a certain N'Golo Kante in centre midfield next to him?
He carried a Kante for France, actually.
Are you daft? Are you daft that he carried
Kante? He literally carried him in the final. What are you on about?
There's no way that Pogba carried Kante.
Pogba scored for that final.
Kojo, hear me out here. Kojo, come on. Kojo, come on. Are you hearing this? There's no way Kante was carried. Come on, my guy.
Okay.
Let's not be foolish. Let's not be foolish. This is idiotic, bro.
Pogba carried him in that final.
Bro, that's idiotic, bro. That is idiotic. I'm sorry. That is ridiculous.
Okay,
I've never heard such foolishness in my life.
Yeah, do you agree with Kojo? Because I know we know
this man's is literally better than fucking Grealish is. So why is that even a convo? And he played in DM for like 6 years.
Behave, man.
Okay.
Kante got carried. You were. Oh my god!
I said in that final, but you just keep regurgitating the wrong words, and you just you literally just said fucking Grealish was City's third best player.
He was though. There's actual stats to prove it.
Riyad Mahrez. Was he fuck better than Riyad Mahrez?
There's actually stats to prove it though.
But I can do the same for Pogba, but I haven't done that because that's so stupid.
But you've got nothing to prove for Pogba apart from that he was in a Ballon d'Or list and he was in a Team 11 list in the season that France won the World Cup and the season that Man United came second in the league. Man United came second in the league.
He was in the Premier League. He was the only non-Man City and Liverpool player in the team.
Yeah, because they came second in the league. That was his one good season, and that was his one good season at United.
Wow, a lot of the chat are saying that Pogba was a bigger flop than Grealish.
There you go.
I would say this: neither of them. Let's be honest.
Fine, I'm not even here for Pogba.
That's basically saying one was a 2 out of 10 and one was a 3 out of 10. I don't care.
I don't care. Their price tag. Let's be honest. Neither of them lived up to their price tag.
No, I agree to that. I agree to
that. But one thing I will say, I agree to that statement. Neither have lived up to the hype. I agree to that. However, Pogba was in a shit Man United team and Grealish was in a flourishing City team. So I'm just going to point that out. I'm not saying Pogba didn't flop as well, because to be fair, he definitely should have done more for his ability. I'm not going to deny that. He's world class.
It's true, because imagine you put Grealish in Man United and you put Pogba in that Man City team.
Exactly. Pogba would have cooked in City. Let's be real, man. He made a mistake coming United. But that's a different conversation. I'm not talking about Pogba.
Yeah, I'm not going to France with a different player.
He's gone now. It's long gone.
Yeah, because he had Kante.
He did in the final, though. It's actually facts.
Kante. I mean, he made Danny Drinkwater look like fucking prime.
He literally carried him in the final, bro. It's literally everywhere. Go check.
Oh god, man.
So yeah, this is one thing. But so Kish, would you take Grealish at Spurs? Would you?
I'd take him as a number 10 for sure. Because the thing is with Maddison at the moment, Maddison for me is so inconsistent. It is ridiculous. Like there can be games, where he's literally 8, 9 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, Maddison at times, but there are also a lot of occasions where he's just off on one, and he loses the ball an incredible amount of times. In the position
so just out of curiosity, are you saying you would prefer Grealish in the 10 over Maddison?
Yeah, I would. I genuinely would.
Do you think he's more consistent than Maddison?
Yeah, he is more consistent than Maddison for sure. The thing is with Maddison,
we watch 2 different games, and that's fair. Look,
I mean, I definitely pay.
Has Grealish played in the 10? Like, genuine question. I swear he hasn't.
He did at
Villa.
He did, yeah, and that's when he was given free reign. That's when he was given free reign to do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
You know, Kish, this is why I think Grealish is a flop, and I brought up the numbers just at the beginning in the chat because the unfortunate story for most players when they are paid for by a lot of money is, their attackers is when you've got a huge fee behind your name and you're going to a club that's demanding trophies at this stage, you have to contribute more than the numbers he's doing in goals and assists. I already brought up goals and assists. That's just what it is for me. But
he's not one of the biggest flops in the Prem. I think we've seen bigger flops.
No, there's been lots of bigger flops.
Anthony, for example.
But when it comes to performances, this is the story of Grealish, and I'm actually keeping an eye on him on purpose because my boy Darren, he was my old free midfield co-host, used to love this guy, and I used to tell him, for me, the performances, this is what it is. At City, what he did in his first year was essentially nothing. He wasn't very good, and they were not happy with him. Pep admittedly said that out in public. The second year, he improved, but that was his story. He improved. He wasn't like he wasn't Haaland, he wasn't De Bruyne, he wasn't Gundogan, he wasn't John Stones. John Stones is the one that gets away from people a lot. John Stones was running the show, right? And then Grealish has failed his team.
He's saying like they're both 100 million compared to Rice. Grealish failed his team won the trophies. I think he's saying like, even though Grealish hasn't lived up to his team, still won the trophy.
Yeah, I think the squad has won the trophies for him, right? Yeah.
But I can make the same case for Lindelof then. And he's
But look, on that second season, they won the treble. But for me personally, his performances weren't of a level where I can say you are the reason why they dragged it. I think Pep, admittedly, definitely wanted to get him to play a lot more games, and he started a lot more games, a lot more 90 minutes. But his levels weren't high for me personally. But if you are there for 4 years, going into your 5th year, and 3 of them are unacceptable, judged off what you said about Pogba, who was there for what, I think 5-6 years when he came back, right? If you give me 1 good year of return in terms of performances and numbers, in terms of out of 4, I can't consider you anything less than a flop. You have to be a flop because the fee they've paid for you demands that you give us the highest level of performances, or at least a 7 out of 10 minimum every week. So when we spoke about Iniesta and Xavi about this, in this generation, they'll be cut out because of numbers, which is true. This generation is all about numbers. But what they had was the level of performances were just ridiculous. So the numbers didn't matter anymore. So when people were doing debates about Lampard and that, Lampard's numbers will trump every midfielder. But Lampard is also not rated sometimes over Scholes because people don't think he's a better footballer, judged off the level of performances they saw week in and week out. That's a debate for another day. But Grealish did not perform to a higher level for 4 years enough for me to give him anything more than a flop.
But this is what
this is a powerful 2 out of 10. I see. This is why I agree.
Now they want to move him on.
No, but what I'm saying is, I agree with most of what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. Is he worth 100 million? Heck no.
No.
Is he?
It's not about if he's worth it. If the fee's been paid, you got to do the job.
But the reason why I'm saying he's not a flop yet is hypothetically, right? Arsenal paid 100 million for Declan Rice, and so far, a lot of fans before recently were saying that he's been good, but he's been nothing spectacular. It wasn't until he's recently, including that Champions League performance in the quarter-final where he bagged those 2 free kicks, and people have always said about Declan Rice, he needs more goals, he needs more assists, he needs a bigger input. But hear me out. If he had won the Champions League at Arsenal this season and nothing else thereafter, people would still say that was money well spent because it was 100 million and they'd won that Champions League. If you had asked, I guarantee you, most Man City fans, that Jack Grealish will have 1 big season at Man City, 1 key season where he's involved, and that turns out to be the season where you win the treble. And regardless of what you say in terms of I found my stats and stats aren't everything, what you can't deny is the fact that he played every vital game. He also received the 3rd most man of the match performances, which clearly means that he must have been important because you can't be getting this if you're not playing well and being pivotal. So what I am saying to you is, yes, he's not as good as what I probably make out to be, but he's definitely not a flop. Can I be a flop in my opinion?
Wait, out of curiosity, how many man of the matches did he get?
5.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that, man. I'm sorry, man.
Oh come on, man! Come on!
What if so strong got 4? They below him.
I can't do it.
Haaland got 6 and De Bruyne got 9. Those were the 3 most man of the match performances that season.
Shows, but you've just proved the point though, because if Haaland's only got 6 when he's bagged about 57 goals that season,
doesn't that just prove that the stats thing is better than it means more? Because judging by you, but that was a season when Haaland scored more than 50 goals. So judging by that, Haaland have a 9 out of 10 rating altogether as an average, wouldn't he?
The point, in case you're not letting anyone else talk, the point I'm trying to make is if Haaland scored 50-something goals and only got 6 man of the matches, surely you got to look into that thing. That's obviously
no, but then if Grealish wasn't vital important and he was starting this game, you're basically saying that they could have won it with 10 men then, because then Grealish clearly had no import at all.
What I'm saying is,
that's what it means.
He misses exchange.
Just said in such a polite way. He's had 1 good season out of 4. I said the same thing in a more aggressive tone, and you've got triggered. The point being is, right, for me, firstly, I actually don't even think it's all Grealish's fault. I actually think Pep's ruined him, which doesn't really get spoken about, because Pep changed him from this maverick player to do what he wants and take him on to this ball playing possession, recycle. Pep killed him, in my personal opinion, and that is why a lot of people in this day and age are complaining about the Pep system making robots rather than these flary PSG players, and that's why everyone's pro PSG, because that actually taking football back to the roots where you had wingers that actually took the players on. When Grealish joined City in that first season, he wasn't Pep-fied. But the seasons after, unfortunately, Pep ruined him. And I'm not going to blame Grealish for that. Some of it is Grealish's fault, but I'm actually going to blame a lot of it on Pep. So for me, it's Pep's fault. The same with United room players. Pep killed him because his whole game was get the ball, run at a man, take a man, and make risks. Bro, the guy doesn't do that, man. You've seen in the last 2 seasons, he's scared to run at me. Run at anybody, bro. When he was at Aston Villa, the guy had the most take-ons, the most fouls committed against it. Bro, Pep killed him. And just to finish this, because we've been on it for ages, he would be a phenomenal signing for West Ham. I'm just going to finish on that. Because you'll make him into the Maverick that he was.
I've heard he's going Newcastle. Yeah. I've actually heard he's going Newcastle. That's what strong sources are saying.
I genuinely think he'd be a brilliant
Pete in the chat, you taking Grealish? We got Pete Newcastle fan. Shout out to Pete, Loaded Mag. You'd be
good at Newcastle and West Ham because you let him actually play like he did at Villa where he was at his best. Like I said, Pep kills players because he makes them into robots. And since he's joined City, he's massively digressed. That's why I said he's a flop. But there's context to it, the same way Pogba has context to why he didn't live up to the hype. For me, Grealish's context is because it's Pep's fault and the system, and he didn't let him be Grealish. He made him into something he's not. So
do you know what? Speaking of ruining players, right? Like we can say Pep has ruined Grealish. The team known most, I think, for ruining players is Manchester United.
Oh, of course.
And now you are about to sign 2 very, very talented players, Mbuemo and Cunha. Are you going to ruin these 2? Are you going to do it again?
No,
I know you guys are hyped, but I mean, this
I
Man
love
United.
Cunha, man. I love him.
We've been here before.
Dan, yours, yeah. This is the first time, genuinely. Like, obviously, yeah, we've been excited with some transfers in the past because we signed some good players. But when hindsight's a wonderful thing. When you look back, the lack of planning has been crazy. So you don't give these players. Like, obviously, we spoke about Pogba earlier. I'm not here to defend Pogba, but if you sign Pogba, the idea is, if he's supposed to be this guy that's supposed to be the one to run the team, you build around the player to make sure they've got the right pieces around him, right? All that stuff, right? Make sure the balance is right, rubbish, whatever, go on. Not to sign him and then play him in essentially 8 positions, including centre-back for some reason, right? Cool. What it looks like now is this is the first time in years that we've got a manager and a board that actually understand building a team together and actually planning about targets together. This is the first time it looks like in ages. Obviously, you'll never know until the season starts and you see how it goes on. But right now, it looks like they've used logic and they've said, okay, we've created a lot of chances and missed a lot of chances. So how do we solve that? Sign forwards that are a bit more clinical than the ones that we've got so far. So they've gone to try and do that so far. That's the start. And then they want a more athletic midfielder, a number 8, maybe a number 6, depending on what they get, because they want someone that can ball carry or someone that's a lot more stronger in defensive areas. And then they want a wing back at the right because, quite frankly, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka not been good enough, and Mazraoui doesn't look very comfortable in a wing back position. So you need to sign someone that's going to be there. And finally, they're looking at a goalkeeper because the less I say about Onana, the better. Otherwise, I'm going to start writing about that guy as well, and I ain't got time. If you think I don't like Jack Grealish,
you should be going for Martinez. Why aren't you going for Martinez?
Okay, this is going to sound quite crazy, but I'm not a big fan of him. That's just me.
It's a massive upgrade on Onana, surely.
Listen, Fabianski is a massive upgrade on Onana. We must sign him as well.
He's, you know what I mean?
Onana's poor, man. So that's.
We heard about Chelsea going for Maignan from AC Milan.
I have no issue with that. They can get him, man.
I don't think he's that good anymore.
I don't think he's that great either. That's me personally. But the planning just looks like a lot more logical. So they look like trying to build a team for the right balance. And those
Bruno staying, that affects your plan, though, the rebuild. A lot of Man
It does a bit, yeah. But we need to sell other players. So even if he wasn't to go, or even if he did leave, those others still need to go. It's not like sell him and then we can deal with those guys. No. Those guys need to kick anyway. They need to get out of my life. Leave my club. Leave my life. Even Sancho, you said alone. He's got a year left. So if we did that deal, that'd be stupid because if we let him go on a loan with 1 year left in his
Isn't
contract,
that better than keeping a player like? Because the thing is, Kojo, right? You're trying to get rid of this toxic culture in the Man United dressing room.
absolutely,
He is a big part of that.
absolutely.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if the intent is to finally let him go, I'd rather take a very cut price fee and let him go rather than spend another 350k a week.
No, I agree.
On and
Just said it for 50.
that's what it's going to be, because you said it. It has to be half wages. West Ham not paying him 350 a week when they take him on loan. They're going to pay him about 100. So we're still paying 250. That's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. I don't want him to get any more money from the club. Leave. So if it's 10 million, go. If it's 5 million, go. If it's a pack of chicken and chips from Leroy and Custom House, I'll take it. Just get out. I don't care what it is. Leave. I'm not paying this money anymore. We're already paying 90 million on July 1st because Ed Woodward and the Muppets, that are the Glazers, are still paying for Anthony, Hoyland, Mason Mount, all these lot. So cut the Sancho problem out. Just get him gone. Get him gone. So if it is to West Ham for £5 million, I'll take it. That's genuinely how I feel. Like, you just need to cut price on that. And he needs to really wake up and realize you are not a 350k player. You are not better than Kudus. You're not better than Bowen. You're not better than Son. If you went to Tottenham, for example, just an example, you're not better than Son. You're not better than you haven't played better than Brennan Johnson. You haven't played better than this guy. I mean, like, you're not levels. So until you can show that you're levels, do one. Simple as that. Yeah. So, bro, get out of my life. My life. I don't need you there.
Get out. Goalkeepers. Actually, people are talking about Ramsdale. You guys taking Ramsdale because I know he's
Ramsdale. I'm gonna lose my head.
He's better than Onana, though, surely.
Yeah, I know.
That guy's got 4 relegations on his CV. No, he's not.
This is what I listen.
That incident when he was clapping Ray like that on the bench, bro, he should have terminated his contract that day, bro. Cringy guy, man. You don't want any of those cringy Arsenal players like United, man. Keep him away from him.
Let's not forget, this is the guy that said he can't concentrate during matches. Like, does anyone want a goalkeeper that says he struggles to concentrate?
I'm telling you, it's that day that Arteta said, "Nah, I'm getting Ryan, man. This guy's a bum."
Yes, bro, sometimes people right. He can't concentrate. Like, I don't want him. Thank you. But Mbuemo and Cunha, like, are you how confident is are you that these two guys are going to work out and they're not going to follow the same footsteps that so many highly rated signings have followed in the past?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet because I feel like this has been a Man United show and we don't want to do that. So I think for me, the difference between them two and the previous players, look, there's no guarantees at any club, especially Man United. We're like the least. We just kill everybody. But the biggest difference with them two in particular is they're Premier League proven. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think that's kind of what Kojo was kind of alluding to as well earlier. But I'm actually surprised we go for players like this. We don't normally sign a Cunha kind of player. We don't normally sign a Mbuemo. I thought Mbuemo was going to go to Newcastle, if I'm being honest. He suits them. And I'm really surprised I mean, obviously I'm happy, but I'm surprised he's picked United over Newcastle and Arsenal before Arsenal fans tried to act like they didn't want him. Yes, he did. So, yeah, for me, I'm surprised. They're both Prem proven, as Kojo said. I don't actually, look, we all know the saying, goals change games. I mean, that goes, we all know that it's been a massive saying in football in general, and we was not scoring enough goals. I think we scored like 30-something goals or something ridiculous. And these two both bring goals. You know, there's been many games where we've had Gil chances and Hoyland, Garnacho, Sancho, not Sancho, he wasn't here, Rashford, Anthony, you know, they missed so many chances. And it's cost us, man, week in, week out. So we just need players to put the ball in the net. Obviously, on Mbuemo, he's a bit different in terms of he's more similar to like a Salah, where, you know, he's a bit more ruthless in front of goal in terms of like he kind of lives for that GA, but we don't really have that. We have Garnacho, but he can't shoot to save his life. So obviously Mbuemo's actually got a technical ability. So
I think pressure on Amorim, like, because if he's getting backed like this, he has to deliver. Like, he's not going to get the time and patience.
Well, you say that he has to deliver more than what he's done this season, absolutely. But I'm sure any United fan watching this, which there probably isn't many, but we need about another 7 players. I'm not under any disillusion that these two are fixing any problems. The midfield's an absolute mess. We need a striker. We need a goalkeeper. We need a wing back. It's an absolute mess, like from top to bottom. These two players will improve us because obviously they can actually score goals, and obviously in each game, you know, it might give us a better chance to win those games rather than losing. So that'll definitely get us from 15 to maybe 10. But we need to at least a centre mid and a striker to push for that top 8 and so forth. But yeah, Amram has to improve as well if he does actually spend another 100 million. So yeah, people will have question marks over him. The way I see it, even if he gets sacked at this point, at least we've got Cunha. I know Mbuemo's not done yet. We're just assuming it's going to be done. But
he wants Man United.
Yeah, it should be done. But obviously, we never know with those. But at least if he's got sacked, we've still got 2 quality players that another manager will inherit. Unlike Højlund and Arnaut and Onana that Amarim inherited. So at least the new manager will be better off than where Amarim inherited it. So at least that's something. So
we'll have to speaking of getting sacked, man.
Yes,
there's big rumours that the Europa League champion Sir Ange Postecoglou, mate, could be potentially on the verge of getting sacked in the coming days, with talks of Thomas Frank replacing. Now, Kish, I'd like to get your opinion. I've seen a lot of Spurs fans saying Thomas Frank don't really move me. I'm not really feeling that. You was on here last time we did the show, and you was like, yeah, I would still let Ange go, which I think is outrageous. But how happy would you be with Thomas Frank? Like, would you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah. I mean, if you ask majority of Tottenham fans, even today, there's been loads of polls. I created a poll after the last game of the season, a couple of days after. I think 70 to 80% of Spurs fans actually want Ange gone, because yes, if you segment it down for the trophy, thank you for all you've done for the club, etc. But 22 league losses, I'm sorry. If you break it down, yes, you can argue that after January, he might have had a chat with the board and be like, look, we're just going to completely let go of the league and whatnot. But you cannot come 17th in the league, which is our worst league position since 1976. And we're very fortunate that there was 3 stinker teams below us, because if there wasn't, I'm sure Osman has said this before about Man United, we would have been in a serious relegation battle, if I'm completely transparent. That is impossible. Having said that, the 2 names that are being linked, which is Thomas Frank and Marco Silva, do not move me one bit. Firstly, one is managing Brentford.
You wanted Frank?
Huh? No, I don't. I don't want. I mean, if it means sacking Ange and taking Thomas Frank or Marco Silva, definitely not. I've never said those 2. I've always said.
Why not?
Huh?
Why
because
not
I just think, again, it gives me Nuno vibes of when we had him from Nottingham Forest. Nuno's 3 seasons, he was in Europe for 2 of those seasons, and then their last season they came 10th or 11th, and then he left and was taken on board by Tottenham. I just think that we're now in a position that we've not been in 17 years, where we have this brand new stadium which is still generating 62,000 capacity. We have Champions League football, and most importantly, we've just won a trophy, which means the players now have a taste to know what it feels like to finally be a winner. And I just think if you're going to let go of Ange when he's clearly kept a feel-good factor with the players, but you're going to sack him for Thomas Frank or Marco Silva, I just don't think that's going to be someone that moves.
You wanted Iraola, right? Iraola was the guy that you.
Well, my opinion on Iraola's changed as well in recent times, just because I do think, again, with Bournemouth, he did have a good group of players, clearly, because Hodgson is now gone to Real Madrid. There's another player that's going to PSG. That I think their other centre back, and then Kirikes is going to Liverpool or one of the top teams anyway. So a lot of those top players. And Semenyo might be going as well. So a lot of those players are now leaving. And this was an anomaly type season when the likes of Tottenham, Manchester United and co were so far down the pecking order that this was a big opportunity for someone like Bournemouth to get Europe. And I do think when they were in a great position to have Europe, and I think last quarter of the season, they had the best games ratio in terms of like opposition they were playing against. They did start folding, and I think that's when the pressure got to them. And that's down to the and I do think that is a worry. That is a worry for me as a fan to say, okay, if he goes to Tottenham, will it be a similar case of what we've had, where it's going to be,
double bottle.
But we're not anymore, though. But we're not there anymore because we've won a trophy.
No, because Man United,
so we're not now.
Out bottled Spurs in the final.
But then what I'm saying is you can't call us bottlers because we just won a trophy, a European trophy. So obviously, it's different, isn't it? It's not like Arsenal. It's not like Fiddler Arteta. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Fiddler Arteta. Do you know what I mean? It's not like him.
What did you call him?
Fiddler Arteta.
Wow.
Obviously. Do you know what it was? Yeah, because I'm in London this week. I was waiting for that victory parade when they beat Real Madrid in the quarters, but no one was there. It was quite weird, to be honest. But anyways, that's another story. Shout out Kale, I know he's not been around for a while.
You're looking for that would be like.
Do you know what it is as well? It's because I don't see any manager at the moment that I've seen around that's like he's doing well or etc. So the one that I wanted was Inzaghi at Inter Milan because he's gone to Saudi Arabia now for like ridiculous salary. Yeah, this is what I mean. That was the one that I wanted because you guys laughed beforehand, but I did say Premier League is a big attraction for most managers. So someone like that. But then if it is the likes of Thomas Frank, Marco Silva, I've even heard Xavi in recent times. For me, those kind of, don't get me wrong, Xavi's career was fantastic, but as a manager, I don't think he's proven enough yet. So if it is between those options, then I just don't think it's worth it, in my opinion.
So you think like stick with Ange until someone else better comes along, so a better name pops up.
That's how I feel, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of fans that I know you guys would disagree, but I would still take Poch back in a heartbeat. I would take Poch back.
You see, Poch isn't going to come because he's at USA, but
I would take him back.
He's not going to come. I know. I've got a weird feeling you're going to get Nagelsmann after Germany. I don't know why. He's at Germany, isn't he?
De Zerbi, by the way. Now, De Zerbi, Steve. De Zerbi I would take because he's had 2 good seasons at Brighton. He's also got Marseille to second in the league. I know he was already a league that was one.
De Zerbi is going into.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's
it's between him and Fabregas. I've seen it today.
Yeah, there's another. But then there is that one thing about De Zerbi that I can't obviously say on this channel. But there's certain things that I don't really like about his scouting system. Do you know what I mean? So that's also a bit.
Would you, Kish, then because say De Zerbi because like Usman said, like
his scouting system's a bit suspect.
You're gonna have to tell me off air then if you can't say it because I'm not.
His scouting system is a bit suspect.
All right, chill out, man. That is
there's a few players in there that it's a bit dangerous. Anyways.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Kish, you're a G, man.
So obviously that might have to need some like legalities.
Anyways, honest to God.
Cool. Anyways, yeah.
What about Fabregas then? If De Zerbi goes in,
do you know what? Yeah, Fabregas. But again, that's another thing with Fabregas. Don't get me wrong. At Como, he has done very, very well.
He's not going to come to you.
But then you don't know.
He's not going to come to you.
At Como, he's done very, very well, but then it's the same as Iraola, right? Or Thomas Frank or Silva because they've done well. Because Como is the same comparison as like a Fulham or Bournemouth, etc.
There's surely no chance.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
No. I mean, Como just came up from the League One.
Yeah, exactly. So he's way overachieving. Whereas Iraola, Bournemouth, both have sort of been Premier League.
Thomas Frank brought Brentford up from the Championship to the Premier League.
Yeah, but I'm not saying they're established. So I mean, I hear what you're saying. I know your point, but I think they're established clubs. So I wouldn't say it's the same. I think he's overachieving with what he's doing. But
I just think this is the first season, Kojo. But Kojo, this is the first season in my in my lifetime as a Spurs fan where we've got the 3 key things, which is why I am so annoyed that Manchester United can still get the likes of Mbuemo and I always forget his name, Cunha, when those are the sort of players that Spurs should be looking for, but instead we're haggling over 10 million on Tell's buyout clause. I mean, that is just pathetic. Pathetic.
Kish, don't worry, man. When you're big, you're big. Like that European trophy hasn't changed nothing, man. Don't worry, man.
And do you know what I've heard today? Apparently Romero's going to Atletico Madrid, but Spurs already have the replacement ready-made in Danso, who we signed in January. So that's even better. And do you know what we'll do? We'll end up making stupid bids on deadline day, and then he'll put down Ben Davis to sign a 1-year contract extension. I can't wait.
What are you saying about Raj here saying that you'll get Eze? Because I can't see it.
I can't see it. It has been, apparently there are talks though with Braithwaite from Everton and that's like a £60 million deal.
That's Man United one.
Yeah, so that is my worry with Braithwaite. I just think it's that English PR. I've not seen enough consistency
so overrated.
in him.
It's unbelievable. I don't care why.
You guys were desperate to sign him.
I would prefer Gehi, but apparently Gehi he says that he's not leaving Palace for anyone next season. He wants to try Europe with them. So
well, that's if they get Europe. They might be getting kicked out of Europe.
What, Palace?
Yeah, because their owners, they own Lyon, and they own.
Dexter.
That Palace thing's not going to happen. I'm sorry if that happens. That's going to be a riot on epic proportions because Man City and Girona, they're not owned by the same club as that thingy as well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
and they're both in Europe. So, and to be fair, Man United with Ineos, we had obviously us and Lille, we were both in Europe.
Chelsea and Strasbourg as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not the first time this has happened. So this would be an absolute disgrace if it actually goes through.
Yeah, it's looking very, very likely.
Bro, and the thing is, it means Brighton would get their spot and their rivalry is Brighton.
Roger's comment on Eze could have a bit of reality to it because there was what's his name? Ben Jacobs today put down that there's lots of Saudi Arabian clubs interested in Heung-min Son. So we'll need someone on that side, and then the wages in it because he's getting paid 200 grand a week at Tottenham, Heung-min Son.
How much?
And then obviously 200 grand a week.
Oh, I thought you said 82.
No, 200 grand a week. So I can see that happening because let's be honest now, Son is on the decline now. He's 32. He's won the trophy at Tottenham. He's already done way more than flipping Kane. So do you know what I mean?
So I think if Palace do miss out on
bigger legend than Kane. Bigger legend than Kane.
Son.
Yeah, he is. He's won a trophy. Kane didn't win anything.
It's Danso as well.
No, let's not get too carried away now. Come on.
Is Ange a bigger legend
as well, Coach? Don't forget Davies, Ben Davies.
Is Ange a bigger legend than
man there?
Yeah, he would.
I like that question.
He would have been if he didn't come 17th in the league, mate.
Because that's just
whoa. He won a trophy.
Son just came 17th.
22 league losses. Yeah, but he's been at the team for how many years? So he's been through Champions League final, League Cup final, FA Cup final, top four. Well, yeah, because Ange's literally got us in the worst position since 1976.
But do you know what season will mean the most to Son? This season under Ange. Because he got his trophy that he needed.
Oh, what's on the next topic for the agenda?
17th in 10 years.
What's the next topic?
Your fans, this honestly, God, no Spurs.
No, I know that. No. Don't get me.
Spurs fans have got this. They've won one trophy now. They've got this weird champions complex. Listen, you might not win a trophy again in your lifetime. Enjoy this moment.
I mean, we will.
And just show them a bit of love.
Yeah, to be fair, when you say we might not win a trophy in our lifetime, you're right, because we're going to win trophies. So I get it. Fair enough.
Because someone clicked that.
Fair enough.
Do you know what? I'll quickly touch on Arsenal. You see this Zubamendi thing? I just want to touch it because this is mad.
Oh, yes. Rodney.
What's
happened? Like, remember that like it was all being reported Zubamendi was a done deal? Like,
yeah.
Zubamendi, this is a quote from Zubamendi that he said, "My future, it will be a long summer. I don't know how it will end.
Oh my
If
God.
Xabi Alonso calls me to join Real Madrid, I've always said Xabi is my idol, and it was a privilege to have Real B. If he called now, I don't want to talk about hypothesis. I'd rather talk about the president. It would be disrespectful.
Oh, that would be unreal. Imagine the meltdown.
No, it gets more.
And he said, I posted Spanish pics on the beach while rumours said I'm in London doing medical exams for Arsenal. Yes, I did not make it clear. I did make it clear those rumours were not true. So he never had no medical for Arsenal. He sounds like he wants to join Xabi Alonso.
Wow, that would be. I mean, who wouldn't though? Let's be honest.
I mean, Real Madrid, right? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
Could you imagine flipping Ornstein, Fabrizio? Like they would be mudded.
Yeah,
can I also say?
Well, no, because he was supposed to be going, and then now he's saying, "Hold on a second."
He's doing it again. What he did to Liverpool.
Can I also say, the player that they're in talks with, Sesko? I don't think he's the answer. I'll be real with you. I've seen enough of him to know that he's not the answer. Yeah, I don't think he's the answer. Like, I just don't think. I think he gives me Darwin Núñez vibes. To be completely honest, he does. He gives me like he's always in the right positions, but he's just not clinical enough. He's not and if he's not bagging goals in the Bundesliga, I'm not saying that you can't do it. There must be cases that I can't remember where people have not done as well in the German league and done well in the Premier League. But I've seen enough of him for club and country. I've seen him in the Euros and the World Cup, and he's never performed. Like he doesn't move me. He's 22, and I get it. He's young, and Arteta could change him. But Arsenal needs someone who can hit the ground running with 20-plus goals a season. Someone like Gyökeres, he's the one that, again, there's no guarantee in life, yeah? But what I'm saying is he is clearly there for the right now. He's 26 years of age. He's played in the Championship with Coventry, performed. I know it's the Championship. Played in the Champions League for 2 seasons, done clearly well and scored regular goals. He is the guy. If they sign Sheshko, I'm not sure for them, I'll be honest.
Yeah.